Hello and welcome everyone. DZ Maybe again with another quick, I don't know if I should call it quick reviews anymore because I'm probably just going to do these however I do them now. Anyway, another review of a Gunpla kit. As you can see, I got 4. Which one do you think is the new one here? If you pick the Ein, yes you are right. The Ein is the new one. I have. The reason I brought everything else out because I wanted you to see what the size of this guy is compared to the other kits. These are all 1/44. This is 1/100th scale. The Ein is tall. It is a very tall kit for a 1/44th kit. It is almost the same size as the 1/100th Gundam. It's probably just about a head height shorter than the Gundam at 1/100th scale. So that just kind of gives you an idea of how big this guy actually is here. He's kind of a giant. He's a very swole graze. This is only my second IBO kit I have built here. There hasn't been really too many IBO kits that have really appealed to me too much. The Graze in particular I always think is kind of a meh grunt suit, and the only version of the Graze I actually kind of like is the Swab Graze here, which I built some time ago, and the Massive Graze Ein. These are the only 2 variants of the Graze I actually kind of like. The rest are kind of too much the same. Too much of the same thing. So, but anyway, I picked this up because I've been kind of wanting to build this for a while now, and it's just huge. I just kind of like what this thing is like, towering above everything else, and especially these feet. You know what? I like these feet. They are unorthodox, but they work extremely well. And I got a piece coming off the back here that needs to go back in. Yeah, there we go. But no, they are unorthodox feet. Just like with the Turn X has unorthodox feet, but the feet on that work really well too. And these weird feet, they work very well for stability and keeping it balanced on feet. And I kind of like that. It's weirdly enough, it's more stable than the feet that's on the Graze normally. So but yeah, having the Swab next to the Ein, that gives you an idea of just what the height difference is between these two. It's probably a good almost inch and a half there, maybe 2 inches if you go from the top of the head, actual top of the head, and not the antenna. So yeah, it's definitely got the height difference, and even next to a UC suit like the Gundam Mark II, it's kind of dwarfs it too. So this is probably closer in size to the Sinanju, I think. The Sinanju is pretty close to the size of it, actually. Actually, let me grab the Sinanju because I want to see how it compares next to that. Of course, my Sinanju is not standing, so we'll just have to kind of get your best guesstimate. But yeah, it actually does look like it's about the same height as the Sinanju there. So yeah. It's a 22 meter tall suit, so I think the Sinanju is also 22 meters. Anyway, this is your final boss version of the Graze, which it doesn't come with too much in terms of weapons actually. You got the pile drivers, which are on the hands here. And they're kind of like one-time use only weapons. Kind of like to remind me of the revolver stake weapon from the Eisen from Super Robot Wars almost. But IBO has always been more practical weapons than beam weapons. So it's an interesting aspect of the show. Mobility on this guy is pretty neat. Well, let me finish talking about weapons first. You also got the axes here. These are the other main weapons here. You get these pair of oversized axes, which are actually big enough for a 1/100 scale kit to use. They're obviously too big for a 144 scale kit, but they're just the right size for the Graze Ein here. And they kind of stay on the backpack just like so here. They just kind of clip right in there. So, other than that, there are these little machine guns turrets that go into the shoulders. These little shoulder things open up like so. And then you just kind of plug these in. The Graze Ein is not really meant for long range combat. It's really a close range melee suit. But the machine guns in the shoulders are more for deterrence, I would say. I've really only seen them be used to like shoot down missiles and do some light damage to smaller mobile workers. That's kind of all they're really good for. Let's take those off. Yeah. But they stay in there pretty well. I have no complaints about that. It's actually pretty flexible. I'm going to take these paddle drivers off for a second here. Actually pull the axes off while I show you the flexibility of this suit here. So, arm bend, you don't get a complete, well, I mean, you do get a little bit more of a 90 degrees in the elbow here, but you also get this additional joint up here at the wrist. So it can reach back and just about touch its shoulder, just about. There's the shoulder. It kind of moves inside the chest like that, and the rest of it's on a ball joint. So I'll go all the way around. The shoulder pod will move up and down just a little bit like that, but about how far up it'll go. But it's got some pretty decent flexibility to it. I mean, no complaints there. Here, the hands is also on a little ball joint peg, so it'll rotate around and everything. See, in the chest here, as typical of grazes, you have this kind of little setup in the chest here, which is kind of hard to explain, but it's like that. It can go up and down, and it can go all the way around if need be. The head is not as much flexibility in the head as you would hope for, because there's this collar. There's this gray collar piece that's right there that kind of gets in the way. But it can kind of turn its head around a little bit like that. Like so. It's not terrible, but it's not, it could be better. Down here with the legs, you can rotate around like so. And go up like that and out. This thick piece on the back skirt armor does kind of get in the way a little bit, so it's not gonna completely do the splits. So that's about it right there. These front skirt armor pieces will move. They come as one piece, but you can easily separate them in the middle so they can move independently. For the leg break, it bends very good, about that much. And for the foot, if the little ankle armor stops popping out, as you move it around a lot, some pieces will pop out. There's a little bit of that keeps coming out, but the foot piece itself moves around pretty well, so there's enough movement there, so you don't have to really worry about too much here. And there's also this thruster piece that comes out the back of the leg, and just goes right back in like that. This backpack piece here goes up like so for holding the axes in place while it tries to grab them. It would be like that, so that it would reach overhead and grab the axe like so. These things do not move independently. Unfortunately, you would have to do some modification to the kit if you want these to move independently. Otherwise, they're linked together inside. And lastly, you do get the head that kind of opens up. It's not really the best mechanism here. This little camera piece is just kind of wedged in. That's really all that's holding it in. And just kind of move it down a little bit. That's all. Then you can see the red long-range sensor that's inside the eye. It usually comes with a sticker for that, but I decided to paint that in instead of using the sticker, because the sticker I didn't think really looked that good. So I went ahead and painted in the red part of the eye and everything. So I did use the sticker for the yellow bit here in the head, though. In addition, you'll probably see, yeah, I used some of my extra stickers from my real grade kits just to kind of add a few markings throughout the kit, just because, you know, I was bored one day after I finished putting it together, and I kind of wanted to jazz it up just a little bit. So I added a few stickers here and there throughout it, just to give it a little more flair. In terms of color scheme, it's okay. It's a pretty plain looking color scheme. It's black plastic. It looks gray in the anime and in the line art though, but it's black on here, and you have this kind of a blue-gray color. I find it's when you're cutting this out and you have the nubs and everything, if you have like some black ink or one of the black markers, Gundam markers, you can just kind of cover up the nubs on here pretty easily. For this blue part, there's actually kind of a blue-gray Gundam. I forget the real touch marker. The kind of blue-gray real touch marker that works really well for covering up the nubs on this blue-gray plastic. That works pretty well. I used that. Oh, this piece is gonna drive me crazy. Stay in there. Oh, speaking of things you might want to be aware of. You might want to paint on here just to be a little bit better. For the most part, it's 95% of this is pretty good. The only thing you're really going to need to paint is the black on the feet here, because the feet part all comes in gray plastic. So if you want it to be a little more accurate or look a little better, you're going to have to paint the black on all these pieces here. And you don't have to paint the silver edges on the axes, but it kind of looks a little nicer if you do it that way. So I went ahead and did that. So what else we get besides guns? You do get this alternative foot. This is the closed together foot for the Graze Ein. If you're wondering, yes, it will stand up and do the kick pose. Let me just we'll do it like that, and then just take that off and put that on. And voila, you got your screw kick, and it stays balanced pretty well. This is probably one of the most well balanced kits I've probably put together in a while. And again, it's just because of those feet. Those feet have just incredible stability on them. You also get an additional set of hands. They're kind of posed a little odd. They're kind of like knuckle punches, but these I think are supposed to be for the screw punch, I believe. Because the other attack of the Graze Ein is a screw punch attack. So the hands, on the other hand, the hands are open on the insides and everything. I don't really like that too much. I think that looks a little bad. but it's like, what can you do? It's just a high grade kit, so that's probably what you're going to get here. I don't particularly like the frame. It's a lot of open gaps in the frame, and I don't really like the look of it. So a more experienced modeler could probably detail up the frame and make it look a lot better. So anyway, that's kind of what you get. Not a whole lot for accessories, but what you do get as a kit is actually pretty neat here. So I think it's a pretty good kit. I kind of like this here. So hopefully, from what I've seen in the IBO Season 2 kits, there's a little more unique and interesting kits coming out, and not quite so many grays, recolors, and rehashes. So I'm kind of looking forward to those. The new version of the Barbatos, the Lupus, is actually, I think, is actually pretty impressive looking. It's a lot better than the first season Barbatos. The first season Barbatos didn't really grow on me at all, but the new Lupus version looks a lot better in my opinion, so I might pick it up if I feel like it one of these days. So, anyway, that's kind of going to be it for this. Best graze is best graze. Yes. Rawr. Look at that eye. Oh, and of course these little antennas bend forward at the head too. That's the way it's supposed to look. So, yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Give me a like, comment, ask questions, subscribe if you want, because I'll keep doing some Gunpla videos. So anyway, hope you have a great day, and bye-bye.